Sister Mary of the Sacred Heart Bernard. Live Jesus. Sister Mary of the Sacred Heart Bernard lived from 1825 to 1903. She was the foundress of the Guard of Honor of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Chapter 5, Day 11, The First Promoters, Part 2. Inspired by the example of Marie-Louise de Lou Martini and Mathilde de Concelli, many chosen souls hastened to enroll in the Guard of Honor, filled with an ardent desire to become apostles of the work. One can therefore understand the cry of admiration and gratitude that rose spontaneously from the heart of Sister Mary of the Sacred Heart. They were a chosen portion, reserved for himself by the heart of Jesus, and surely nothing less was owed to the King of our love. Prominent among these chosen souls was a gracious figure of Abbé Amaudru, who, from the moment he first learned of the work, loved it and became one of its most fervent apostles. As a young curate in Saint Amour in the Curé, later as pastor of La Cruz de Combray, and during the final months of his life at Saint Laurent in Grandvieuse, he cherished but one desire wherever he went: to form guards of honor in spirit and in truth. To show how successful his accomplishment this mission, he would be enough to mention Miss Marie Bonin of Bolliquy, one of his relatives, who wrote the following words to Sister Mary of the Sacred Heart. The triumphant chariot of the heart of Jesus must be drawn by victim souls. Kindly enroll us in this title, both myself and the 7 associates whose names I enclose. On that day, the dial reserved for the guards belonging to the 3rd Palace, priests and victim, was inaugurated. Miss Bonin's offering was accepted by the Lord. At the age of 33, she willingly offered the sacrifice of her life in order to hasten the reign of the Sacred Heart. On several occasions, she had visited the Visitation Monastery of Bourget in Prissy to spend a few days in retreat. During those visits, her soul seemed to become one with that of Sister Mary of the Sacred Heart. One evening, as her conversations turned, as usual, to spiritual matters, both women were suddenly overcome by inexplicable awareness and said to one another, "He is here." To guide souls of such perfection, Abbé Amaudru himself needed to be a saint, and indeed he was. He had personally explored the treasures of sanctification and moral perfection contained in devotion to the Sacred Heart, and later presented them in the most engaging historical account. One day, he visited the Visitation Monastery of Bourget in Prissy, where he spent several hours speaking with a humble religious who had founded the Guard of Honor. He departed from that meeting with his heart wholly inebriated with love for the Sacred Heart. As he approached Bourges, the worthy priest had received a clear intuition of the severe trial that would soon befall Sister Mary of the Sacred Heart. He therefore spoke to her without reserve. "Do not allow yourself to be troubled. Everything you have accomplished will be belittled. Your conduct and correspondence you have maintained will be disapproved, and you yourself will be set aside. Your house will present a spectacle worthy of the gaze of heaven. You will be crucified, and those who crucify you will have the best intentions in the world. They will believe that they are acting wisely, and everything will be an act of virtue on both sides. Like an old and useless piece of furniture, allow yourself to be cast aside. The work will not perish, but you will be sacrificed." A few days later, he wrote to her, "Oh, how greatly you have consoled me by assuring me that you will accept everything in a spirit of love and peace. Do not surrender to anyone the glorious privilege of being the first victim of the Guard of Honor. Allow no one to suffer more than you, and consequently, no one to love more than you." These predictions were later fulfilled to the letter. Among the earliest guards and friends of the work were also Miss de L'Opinit, the good Canon Richard, and Miss de Six. Miss de Six was living in Paris when, around 1866, she felt inspired to establish her residence in Besançon in order to make the Guard of Honor known there and to obtain its canonical establishment in that city. Her spiritual director was a Reverend Father Pierre Oviat, S.J., who a few years later would be put to death during the Paris Commune. After praying, asking others to pray, and carefully examining the matter, the holy Jesuit did not hesitate to encourage his spiritual daughter to carry out her pious undertaking. Miss de Six then contacted Archbishop Jacques-Marie Ardet Senior Martyr of Besançon, explained her intentions, and asked his counsel. The Archbishop responded with exceptional kindness, promising to support the undertaking and designating the chapel of Bernard's Sisters of the Blessed Sacrament as a center of the Guard of Honor. Until that time, a number of members had already been enrolled in Besançon, but they lacked both regular organization and a common place of assembly. The zeal of Miss de Six provided them with both. To spread the work, this chosen soul had not hesitated to make a twofold sacrifice that was deeply painful to her sensitive heart. She left her native city and surrounded the comforts of her home. God rewarded her zeal only a few months later, when the Guard of Honor was canonically established in Besançon on February 8, 1867. This news brought immense joy to Sister Mary of the Sacred Heart, who always retained a profound and affectionate remembrance of her beloved Frances Condé. Thus, the heart of Jesus often scattered fragment roses along the road to heaven, even though so many thorns also grew there. Through the generous cooperation of so many devoted souls, the Guard of Honor continued to spread throughout the world, an ever-expanding network of pious confraternities. On March 3, 1876, it was established in the very heart of France, in Montremortier, in the conventional chapel of the National Vow, under the auspices of Bishop Francis Marie Benjamin Ricord, formerly Bishop of Belley. Since May 1875, a devoted promoter had been petitioning the original to obtain the establishment of the confraternity in the capital. She had received the following reply: "We are awaiting the arrival of Bishop Ricard. This work belongs to him, and we wish to reserve for him the satisfaction of establishing it in Paris." When he left the Diocese of Belley, the Holy Attacor, Archbishop of Paris, had promised to assist the Guard of Honor in every possible way. He faithfully kept his word. The following year, the Countess of Saint-Ardegor and Miss Vaudette, both promoters, received full authorization to receive the Association Guard Dial to the Reverend Father Ray, Superior of the Chaplains of the Sacred Heart at Montmaury. Father Ray received it with joy and assigned it a place of honor in the chapel. The public exercises of the Guard of Honor were inaugurated in Montmaury on March 10, 1876, on the day then dedicated to the Holy Lance, which opened the side of our Lord and caused the fountain of mercy to flow from his adorable heart. From the Mount of Martyrs, the fountain had never ceased to flow and spread throughout France and the entire world. After France, Italy came forward in great numbers to enroll in the Guard of Honor. There the work spread rapidly through the apostolic zeal of Reverend Father Giovanni Visconti Tosco, the superior of the priests of the mission at Chieri. To facilitate its propagation, he personally translated and arranged for the translation into Italian of the Manual of the Guard of Honor. Through this meditation, St. John Bosco entered in correspondence with Sister Mary of the Sacred Heart and immediately manifested great enthusiasm for the new devotion. The first letter John Bosco wrote to the Foundress was preserved as a precious relic at the Visitation Monastery of Bourges de Brécy. Years later, Father Jasco was raised to the apostolic dignity and called by Pope St. Pius X to occupy the See of Acosta. He never ceased to be an apostle of the Sacred Heart and the Guard of Honor. In the same beautiful enthusiasm that drew souls to the feet of Jesus, the New World reviled Europe. The vast diocese of Diamantina in Brazil was one of the first to be won over by the Guard of Honor. The confraternities multiplied so greatly throughout the Americas that the mere publication of their complete list would have constituted a laborious, though deeply fascinating undertaking. It may truly be said that the whole earth was enrolling beneath the banner of the Divine Heart and becoming imbued with the love of Christ. God be blessed.